I have a new obsession with on-camera flash images. So I've been developing a couple of test shoots to put this kind of shooting style to the test and see what I can achieve with them. I did a shoot the other day with my friends Attila and Adam with a basketball theme. Here's the results of that shoot, and then we'll go through how I achieve these images. So for this shoot, I used a Godox V1 as the on-camera flash. I was shooting on my Canon R5 with the 16 to 35mm lens, and I'm really loving, or my style is very much wide angle, so I'm really stoked with how these images turned out. Let's jump into the computer and I'll show you how I achieved the look, my shooting angles, and how I edited the images. Let's go. So I want to start off with just going through a couple of the mood boards and what the feel of the shoot was going to be. So these aren't necessarily, like, I don't need to achieve the same kind of lighting, but I just wanted this kind of images and feel of the shoot with on-camera flash. So we got some motion stuff, some wide angle from low angles, a bit of products kind of thing, and some action. And I really like this kind of thing of some brothers or friends playing basketball. So this was definitely one of the images I want to try to achieve, just in the style or just using the subjects that I had with me this time. So let's jump into Photoshop and I'll show you how I edited and achieved these images. So with this image, I had the boys just walking down the stairs, and with all of the photos, I exposed the camera for the background and then turned the flash on, and then had it for TTL just to fill the front of them. I didn't want to have the camera work it out because it could have really underexposed the background or just blown it out entirely because it was very bright because it was backlit. So I just, exposed the background and then had the flash blast the guys as we walked up and down the stairs a couple of times. For the retouching, and this is the same for all the images, the same process. So I do a bit of cheating, and I run Retouch Me on the retouching. It just speeds the which is an AI retouch. It just speeds the process up a bit. I could do it all manually, but this just takes a massive chunk of time down, and then I go in and finesse the retouching. So I run that, the heel and the dodge and burn, and then with them, I then go in and finesse. So like I cleared off the walls here. There was still a couple of blemishes and stuff on Attila I need to fix. This lens flare here was really distracting, so I want to get rid of that. What else did we get rid of? This little stick up here just kind of look like barbed wire, almost like it was a prison shoot, so I had to get rid of that. And that was kind of it. And then with the dodge and burn, that just sort of takes the aggressiveness off of the shadows to highlight and just makes it a much smoother roll off. With removing this lens flare here, I also had to do a bit of a hue change just to make it the color, because like I could retouch it but the color was still a bit yellow, so I just changed the hue a bit. We wanted to darken this little bit of retouching here so it's not noticeable, and then on the images I just wanted to add a bit more contrast and pop to the brightness, and then bring in a little bit of a warmth to the entire image, so adding a photo filter on there. And that's how I achieved this one. Moving on. So reference one of the mood board images here. I wanted to create a similar kind of thing with the guys, and like they're very happy and smiley kind of brothers, so having them enjoying this sort of playing basketball together really like brings its own feel to the shoot, away from just the achieving the mood board, which I really like because it makes it more your own work and very individual to the subjects as well. So same thing, we ran the retouching over it and then went in and finesse the a bit more on Attila's head here. yeah, a little bit of hair, and then the dodging and burning. I just wanted to, it's very subtle, but you can see, especially if I turn these other two on there, a little bit of darkening on Adam here, just to make him not so blown out, and then adding the brightness and photo filter. Moving on. Actually, before we move on, with this one too, I just had the boys, like, they weren't actually fighting each other and trying to go for a score. I just had them there sort of acting out the movement, and then I just blasted away on high speed sync, and you know, there was a lot of dark frames within there, but within that there were some golds like this one. Moving on. So this one here was a really fun image, and we've got another one very similar to it, except with both the boys coming up. But I had the camera on the ground and shooting straight up, and I think I shot most of these at around 16mm or really wide, and then I could just crop in later. And had the boys and Attila just leaning over, and just basically the instruction was do cool stuff. And so I just went through a heap of movements, interact with the ball, interact with each other, and I was just there banging away. The same thing with this was exposing for the background, and then TTL with the flash to fill in that bright, not overexposed, but really bright highlight from the front. So if we go into retouching, we don't need this there anymore. Just retouched his skin, and then cleaned up the hoop just a little bit, and then this the backboard. We added the contrast and photo filter, and then we brightened up. What did we brighten up? Just this little part here of his hair. I just found there's a little bit too much contrast there, so we just brightened that up with the shadows just here. If we move on to a similar kind of shot, except we got both of them in there. I love this shot. It looks so cool. The shooting on a wide angle lens just makes it feel like you're right there, which you are, because they're so close to the lens, and like they're reaching out to you. So we turn all these off. So we retouched the boys and just cleaned up the background, like the little hoop. The second hoop there was distracting. This little bit of trees was distracting, and I think we even got, up here there was some lens flaring going on. Only subtle, but it's just those little details that set your work apart from everyone else. Bit of dodging and burning on the skin. We just needed a little touch of brightness across here on Adam, just to bring the image together, and then the photo filter and brightness and contrast. For the photo filter, you just go up here to photo filter, and I just use the color that was already in Photoshop, but you can adjust that to the intensity and color that you want. Go across. This shot was so cool, like just his hair looks out of control, and I couldn't believe it when I got it. It looks so sick. I didn't use a flash for this one. We just used natural light because the light was really nice coming from the side there. And I had Attila just shoot hoops, man, and I'm just gonna keep trying to get you. I shot on this platform that I think is for adjusting the hoop or something that you can just move around the court. So we moved it up, and I was right next to the hoop, shooting at about 16mm, I think. Let's have a look. No, shooting about 21mm, so still very wide, but not as wide as 16. And then let's go through the retouching. So this one is pretty heavily retouched. So as you can see, the background, sorry, not the background, I got rid of the little G here, and that was just a matter of getting the lasso tool, doing a loop around it, and then hitting content aware fill. And the Photoshop was smart enough to just grab the red bit of the hoop here and fill that in. So that's gone. And it's all about simplifying your images. So looking at this image, what is distracting and what can we get rid of so that all you see is the message that I'm trying to portray. And in this case, it's Attila's sick hair and taking a shot with this really nice crisp basketball. So what needs to go? The G here, all of these little dots of the crap that's on the floor. There were some really minor marks on the backboard, and I think that's all we got rid of, and that really simplifies it. Yeah. Along you can see at the back there's all these leaves and stuff that you just had to make look nice. Just a process of going along, removing each one, and then just retouching and bringing the wall down further so that you get this nice clean edge. Add a little bit of dodge and burn to the ball and the backboard over here. Fix the color and the contrast. The contrast. So we darkened the brights a bit and brightened the darks just a little bit in the back here. Contrast and photo filter. Moving on. So this is the same thing, a very similar kind of image, but just so you can see on a larger scale, and then something else that I've done to simplify the image further. You want to duplicate the background and then retouch all the image in the same kind of fashion, removing anything on the buoys, anything on the ground, anything on the hoop. And then you can still see at the back here that it would look much better if this wall wasn't in there. It's just one continuous flat image. So what I did was duplicated these two layers and then stretched the image. So I'll go on and show you there. So if we get rid of the mask, I just stretched the image out there and then masked in this all blue part, and then retouch this line because it didn't make sense for the court to have that, and it just looked like there was too much color going on, and that simplified that corner and it looks just much more high-end without having this distracting stuff here in the background. Dodge and burn, darken and brighten different parts of the images, and then the photo filter and contrast. So they're the ones that I just wanted to run through with you and how I achieved them. Some of the other ones that were really fun, that didn't require retouching, but are just really cool images that I loved. This was also achieved without a on-camera flash. It's just a matter of, let's have a look. What do we slow so we shot a 35mm f20, because I didn't have an ND filter on me, and shutter speed of 1/10 of a second because I wanted to get that motion blur in it. Initially I had it at like 1/5 of a second. It was just a little bit too slow and too much motion blur. So I sped it up just a little bit and then just had the boys just run through different movements like shooting hoops, pretending to pass it off, a bit of dodging and bouncing. And then this is one of the ones that I settled on, which I think is really cool. And then the other one we settled on was this is sick, was Adam went for a fake pass kind of thing, and then yeah, it just turned out cool. I really love how the shoe has this drag to it there, and there's motion blur on some of his elements, but then you can see there's less motion blur on the other parts of his body. I think this is just a really sick image. As well as all the hero image, I always really like to grab some filler images for backgrounds or templates and stuff like that, so that when you're making cool flat lays on Instagram or somewhere, you have something to use other than just the images as backgrounds. So I shot just a couple of the basketball, Attila's feet. This is actually a really sick shot. Attila's feet on the basketball and of the hoop. And this just really makes when you're making collages for Instagram or your website or anything like that, where you can put that image in the background and then overlay some of the hero images on top of that, and it just helps tell the story of what you were doing or what you're trying to say with the photo shoot. So I hope that was of interest to you, and I hope you got some value out of it. Let me know in the comments if you like on-camera flash and any shoots that you really love. Try and link them to me so I can have a look, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.